You just prove another topic I never thought we'd talk about on a podcast. How are you today?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Good, good. So our topic today is letters, love, and the Georgian Post. How mail connected a nation. How did people in the Georgian era actually send and receive mail?
It's really interesting how they did it. And for those Americans that consider the Pony Express to be the definition of male driven horsewise, um, George the First enacted a Pony Express type in 1600s. And when you wanted to send a letter, which is kind of interesting, um, I want to send you a letter, okay? I'm sending you a letter, and I live in London, and you live in, I don't know, Kent. So I'm really involved in the letter. So it's 2 pages. And I get to the post office, and they take it, and it is delivered to you. You pay the freight. The receiver paid the freight. And it was, I think it was a shilling a page. And then there was also a charge for the delivery in itself. So the receiver kind of got screwed. Um, but they had another thing in London called the penny post. And the penny post is exactly as it sounds. If I wanted to mail a letter to you, we both lived in London, but I lived on the West End and you lived on the East End. Um, it would cost me a penny to mail you the letter. Um, and that went within a 10-mile radius. So it was really a pretty wide area that they would mail letters. But um, mailing a regular letter, can you imagine breaking up with somebody? Uh, they send you the letter to break up with you, and you have to pay for the postage. That would be rotten, wouldn't it?
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, yeah. It lasted until sometime in the late 1800s too.
I mean, it's crazy to think about those things and to how it would be. So, how who could afford to send letters, and how much did it cost?
I know, and that's where being a wealthy aristocrat makes a difference because you could get your footman to do that for you for nothing, you know. Um, Particularly around town, if I wanted to contact my girlfriend and ask her to do a promenade with me or promenade
Right, 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 right.
with me on Thursday, I would have my footman deliver the letter or the missive instead of going to the post office. They have penny post. There was two post offices in London. Um, the main post office was closer to Mayfair, which was the wealthy section of London. It was pretty. It was, but see, the wealthy could probably disregard that altogether.
Wow.
I know.
It's funny. What role? So basically, what role did letters play in romantic relationships and courtships?
There wasn't a telephone. Um, we didn't have cell. They didn't have cell phones, so they wrote letters to each other. If if my if the man that was courting me, and typically he had to get permission from the parents to court, um, then if he wanted to if he wanted to do a promenade with me on Thursday, he would write a letter. But sometimes they could be very detailed letters and very amorous. And I think that's one thing that we miss about um, communicating is
Yeah.
the loss of that written word, because you can always go back to it, you can always read it, and B, for the writer to sit with pen in hand and profess your feelings for somebody is so romantic. Um, and so we've kind of lost that in telephones.
We definitely have. How did the delay or loss of a letter change people's lives?
Oh gosh, can you imagine?
Well, it changes our lives right now, right? With the delayed or lost letter. But what about then? Because there's
Yeah.
nothing. You can't
Well,
text somebody or call somebody or email them.
yeah, there's so many ways for us to communicate. So there's really no excuse for the lack of information. Now, I know a lot of times a person will say, well, didn't you get my text? I sent it. No, I didn't get it. Probably because you didn't write it. But you always have that escape, right?
Well, I think an email because it could bounce, but a text message, you didn't send it, and it would have said not sender. That's the biggest excuse out on the book. You didn't get my text.
Right.
Your email, yes, but
Yeah,
you use it. But if somebody ignores your text, you said, "Did you get my text?" That's okay.
yeah,
But for
yeah,
somebody to say you didn't get my text, that's horrid. That's one of the
yeah.
biggest lies in the world. But
Oh, it is. It is. But can you imagine a man? Suddenly, the father says to his son, his grown son, um, "We need to go to the north of England. There's problems up there with that estate, and there's issues with the tenants." So he leaves. He writes a letter saying, "I'm so sorry. My feelings for you haven't changed, but my father has demanded that I accompany him." Um, and so they're up in the north, and the mailing stuff is impossible, and he's working with tenants from sun up to sundown. The girl never gets the letter. She feels like she's been rebuffed or rebuked. Um, and so she might start courting someone else. Um, and of course, there's always the issue of having to deal with the ton, as they call them, um, castigating or criticizing the girl. She must have done something wrong for him to just leave like that. So there were a lot of issues, but the main thing is you don't get the letter. Um, your your parents are pushing you to get married, and so you start courting somebody else. He comes home and you're engaged. Yeah, so I have read, maybe one or two romance novels where that was the scenario, that he had to go for something,
right.
and she never received the letter.
What were the social rules or etiquette around writing letters?
I don't know, and I probably should know. I know that there were protocols for
Right.
court, um, but I don't know that there would be strict guidelines for what could be written, because nobody's supposed to read the letter but the receiver of the letter. And if me and my Palomore had a passionate relationship, then the letter would be probably kind of spicy. And nobody else is supposed to see the letter. So you can remain in the rules and regulations of courtship to the public, but when you write the letter, you can say things to your and get your what they call them. I don't know. Um, you can say things to them that you're not allowed to say to their face because there was always they always had to have a chaperone. So there was always somebody listening to the conversation.
Right.
That sucks too.
Yeah, it definitely does. How did the rise of literacy and the printing press influence personal correspondence?
Oh my goodness. Can you imagine before the printing press how limited people were in getting access to books? Because those all had to be handwritten. What a nightmare that would be. These guys would have arthritis when they were in their 20s, from having to write letters. But the printing press gave such an opportunity to people other than the upper class. It gave and they had all kinds of libraries and places where you could buy magazines and little dime store novels that people had access to. So even the poor might have a better chance to learn to read. I know that I have read several stories in that era where someone poor taught themselves to read, and
Oh, wow.
they were only able to do that because of the printed word.
Yeah.
They had access to the printed word.
All right. So this is the final question. In what ways did mail and communication shape the major events of the Georgian period? Politics, war, and gossip.
Oh my gosh. Well, you can imagine they had scandal rags, and a couple of our cartoonists became famous. Crankshank, Crankshank. I I don't know. It starts with a C and it ends with Shank. Well, that was his name, and he drew all these satirical cartoons about the aristocracy, and he would take the rumor and make a cartoon out of it, like we do with politicians
Right.
today. They would do that with the aristocrats. So if you didn't squelch something and you had to do it within minutes of its having happened, then you were screwed. It was in print the very next day. Scandal rags were a big deal back then.
I'm sure. Oh man. All right. So best place to go is MinaValentine.com. New news coming soon for Mina. Go buy her books, pick them up. Let us know, give us an Amazon review. We appreciate it. And thanks again. And we'll talk again soon. That